everyone, and welcome to episode 59 of the Knitty Heather podcast. My name is Heather, and I'm coming to you from Kent, Washington, up here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. This is my podcast where I share about everything I have been working on and knitting. I love to share my making with you and tell you about all kinds of other wonderful makers, whether they are yarn dyers, project bag makers, pattern designers, or makers of any other accessory. I always love to shout out people who add to the beauty of our fiber community. If you are a new viewer, welcome. I am so happy you found me and I hope you enjoy yourself. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It really means a lot to me. If you would like to follow me, I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram, and I would love to see what you are working on in your making. All of the yarn and patterns and accessories I talk about will be listed and linked in the description box below. Today is Saturday, April 29th, 2023, and I have a lot to share with you, so let's get going. I am wearing my blue raspberry stitch cowl today. I believe I've worn this on an earlier episode, but I thought it went well with my top today, and so I decided to throw it on. It is a simple raspberry kind of bauble stitch. I believe I found this stitch off of the New Stitch a Day website a number of years ago, but it is a really cool 2-row repeat to get this lovely kind of raspberry bauble texture. I simply cast on a number of stitches and knit up. I believe this is just like a baby sport yarn that I got from my granny's stash. And I just worked it as long as the yarn would let me. Check out the raspberry stitch from the New Stitch a Day website. I have some lovely acquisitions I would like to share with you this episode. Both of them are from my friend Julie, who I met up with. Actually, it's been over a month now, but I met up with her last month at the end of March, and it was really fun to have dinner with her and her husband. And she gifted me this incredible sock ruler that she designed and made herself with, I believe, a glow forge. I don't really know much about this craft, but this is a sock ruler. It also has information about sizing, needle gauge, all kinds of useful information on this wonderful tool. Now, she is not selling these quite yet, but she is hoping to sell these in the near future. So look for them and follow her. I will put her Instagram handle down below. Julie also gifted me this beautiful skein of a homespun house yarn. This is on her soft sock 75-25 base. And it is the colorway Liquid Luck, I believe from a Harry Potter club from back in 2018 is what the label says. How pretty are all these oranges and pinks? Very sweet of her to gift me this beautiful skein of fingering weight sock yarn as well. Thank you so much, Julie. I hope I get to see you again soon. Now on to my finished objects. The first finished object I would like to share with you are my April socks for the 9th annual Desert Vista Dye Works monthly sock club. I did my April socks in her DK base. This colorway is called Flip Flops. And I simply did the DK weight vanilla sock pattern by Kay Litton, the crazy sock lady. I believe I did 10 rounds of 2x2 ribbing for the cuff, 30 rounds down the leg of plain stockinette, the slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset she calls for, and then about 35 more rounds down the foot before I closed up the toe. This is such a bright, fun colorway. It was an absolute pleasure to knit. These flew right off the needles, and I really enjoyed working with her DK base as well. It's very soft. This is the first pair of socks I cast on with her DK base, and it definitely won't be the last. I really enjoyed working with it and how it knit up. I did just start one and then worked right into the next one. You can see I ended with this red toe, and then it looks like I cast on, this must be my second one, where I cast on with the red. They're not matching, but I don't really care. These are going to be sleeping socks, and they will be just fine. They will keep my feet nice and warm and cozy. I certainly recommend the Vanilla Weight DK sock pattern by Kay Litton if you're looking for a pair of socks to knit in DK weight. There are tons of new DK weight bases with nylon. This is 75-25 superwash merino nylon. There's a lot more DK weight bases coming out these days with nylon that are perfect for socks. Or even if you want to learn how to knit socks, this would be a great pattern to start learning the basic skills and techniques that are in other sock patterns with thicker DK weight yarn. This is a pair of DK socks using the Vanilla DK Weight sock pattern by Kay Litton, the crazy sock lady, knit up in the colorway Flip Flops by Desert Vista Dye Works on her DK base. My next finished object is a half finished object. I just finished this first sock this morning. Look at this beautiful colorway. This is a vanilla sock using the colorway Lady Mary's Virtue by Lolo Did It on her L'Original 8515 base. This was one of the sock sets from her Downton Abbey club that she started. This was the first installment of that club from back in May 2020, and I'm finally knitting it up. I did about 14 rounds of 2x2 rib down the cup, and then one more round in the contrasting color to make a nice clean break just in plain stockinette before I incorporated the main color. And then I did a fish lips kiss heel and a rounded toe. I really think these turned out beautifully. I am really loving this colorway. I was super excited when I first opened it to cast it on, and I've held off until now, but I'm so glad that I finally have one sock done in this beautiful colorway. I did a medium 64 stitch count, about 50 rounds down the leg and then 50 more rounds down the foot on a size 2, 2.75 millimeter Chow Goo 32-inch circular needle for magic loop. This is a vanilla sock knit cuff down with the fish lips kiss heel in the colorway Lady Mary's Virtue from Lolo Did It. My next finished object is a hat. This is the Easy Worsted Hat by Hannah Ingalls from the Fiber Gallery here in Seattle. The yarn I used was Hypnotic Yarns Plush DK in the colorway Laugh Some More, Worry Less, inspired by kind of the graham crackery s'more color from one of the Yarnable boxes, I believe from September 2022. This colorway knit up absolutely beautifully. I love how it looks. This is mostly just a vanilla stockinette hat with a little bit of 2x2 ribbing at the brim, and then there are some directions to close up at the crown. This was a very basic, well-written pattern, and I originally made it for my mom, and I might still have her try it on, but I actually think it might be a little bit too big on her. I have a bigger head than she does, so I might keep this for myself actually, and I'll show you in a little bit. I have another hat that I'm actually making for sure for my mom. But we'll see, I might have her try this on because I've been wanting to knit my mom some hats. This is the Easy Worsted Hat by Hannah Ingalls of the Fiber Gallery, knit up in Laugh S'more, Worry Less by Hypnotic Yarn from her September 2022 Yarnable box. My last finished objects have actually already been gifted to my aunt and my cousin when I visited them in Virginia recently, but I did knit them some dishcloths and I will insert some pictures here. These are the garter stitch diagonal dishcloths from the makeyourownzone.com, and I used a combination of Lily's Peaches and Cream and Lily's Sugar and Cream. Some of the dishcloths I did an eyelet border, and then some I did not do a border with the eyelets. There are different techniques that they give you in the pattern for however you want to knit these dishcloths up. They are a very useful, very versatile pattern. You can of course make them as wide as you want, even up to a blanket size. But I did follow the numbers they give you in the pattern for a nice size dishcloth. And I was very pleased to be able to gift those to my aunt and my cousin. I might have to make some more for some other people as well. I have a little bit more of that kind of cotton yarn that's perfect for dishcloths left in my stash. So we'll see, I might be making a few more of those to gift to people down the road. If you're looking for a fun and basic dishcloth pattern, check out the garter stitch diagonal dishcloth pattern from themakeyourownzone.com. Now on to my works in progress. My first work in progress I'd like to show you is my last pair of socks that I have been working on. This is the Peony colorway from Legacy Fiber Arts. I just have the cuff of this second sock done, but I do have the first sock completed, so this is technically another half finished object. I did 20 rounds of a 2x2 rib. I did about 20 rounds down the leg. I used the contrasting color that came with this Peony sock set for a slip stitch heel flap. And then I did about 35 more rounds down the foot and used the contrasting color for a rounded toe as well. The pattern I followed is the vanilla socks on 9-inch circulars by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady. I'm doing the size small. This is a gift for another friend who I wanted to make some socks for. And I think she's going to love these. This is such a beautiful colorway. This is on their Steel Toes 75-25 base. Here's another look at the progress I have. I'm using my 9-inch ChiaoGoo red lace needles. This mermaid progress keeper is from Bump on a Hill on Etsy. And it is being housed in my Bumblebee project bag from MLD Threads on Etsy. And then I have a little Bumblebee progress keeper that I'm using as a zipper pull. This is also from Bump on a Hill on Etsy. Here is what the yarn looks like all caked up. And again, this colorway was called Peony by Legacy Fiber Arts. I believe it was from when they released some springtime sock sets a couple years ago. And I really love their yarn. It's been a while since I've used Legacy Fiber Arts, but I love it. This is the vanilla socks on 9-inch circulars pattern by Kay Litton, the Crazy Sock Lady, knit up in the Peony colorway by Legacy Fiber Arts on their Steel Toes base. My next work in progress is very close to becoming a finished object. It is a Musselburgh hat for my mom. I decided to cast one of these on for her because I know this will fit her. This carrot cake progress keeper is from Simply Serving, and as you can tell, I have really made a lot of progress. I am very close to finishing this. In fact, I did start the first few rounds of decreases just last night. So now I am just decreasing for the crown. If you're not familiar, this is the last Musselburgh I did, and it ends up in kind of a pickle or football shape that you fold into itself to make it double thick. This one I did not make long enough for a brim, but I am hoping this will end up long enough that she can do a nice little fold over her ears and have a good comfortable brim. This colorway is called Moulin Rouge, and it is from Trilogy Yarns on her plush base, which is an 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon base. This was from her Broadway club she started last year. Really, really pretty. I love how it's knitting up, and I think my mom is going to love this. I have it in my Knitting Chickens bag with a chicken and waffles progress keeper for a zipper pull. I believe this was from Simply Serving as well. So like I say, I have just a little bit, kind of this same amount of decreasing to do as I did increasing when I began the hat. So I just need to close it back up here on the other end. And it will be done, and I will be ready to gift it to her, hopefully in time for Mother's Day. That's the goal. This is the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague, knit up in Moulin Rouge by Trilogy Yarns on her plush base. Next, I'd like to show you the progress I've made on my Fizzlicious wrap. This is a pattern by Amba O'Brien, and it is one of those advent or scrappy projects that are just perfect to do with minis. Here it is so far. I'm about halfway through. I have worked up since this red velvet cake progress keeper is where I was last time. So I've done a couple more sections. I just finished one of these flowery fizz sections, and so I will be doing another garter section with this beautiful color next. The minis I am using are from the 2022 Vista Fade Advent by Hugh Loco, and they really look so beautiful together. The main color that I am using for the fizzy sections, the fizzy flowery sections in between, is from Nerd String, and the colorway is called Labyrinth. Kind of a nice neutral that I thought went well with these sort of earthy Vista tones. I think this is going to turn out really, really beautifully when it is done. It is a straight parallelogram shape. I keep the same number of stitches on the needles the whole time. The needles I'm using are Chowgu Red Lace. Loving this project so far, and I have it in my Simpsons large drawstring bag by Fate's Thread. This is a really beautiful pattern, and I'm happy to be using my Advent from last year in it. And I'm excited to put in the other colors. Like I say, I think I just put in color 13, and there are 24 colors, so I'm just over halfway done with this, and then I'll give it a nice block, and then I can start enjoying wearing it. This is the Fizzlicious wrap by Amba O'Brien, knit up in the 2022 Vista Fade Advent by Hugh Loco, and Nerd String in the colorway Labyrinth. My next work in progress is a very similar wrap. It is my Lamina wrap, also by Amba O'Brien. As you can see, this is another scrappy, adventy type of shawl. Similar parallelogram shape, where I keep the same number of stitches on the needles the whole time. With this pattern, you do a lace section in the minis and then a garter section for the main color, which gives it a little bit of contrast to the last shawl I just showed you, the Fizzlicious wrap. The beautiful bright colors I am using are from the 2020 Advent by Hypnotic Yarn. These are the leftovers I had after using them on the first project that I made with these lovely colors. And my main color is Shenanigans, also by Hypnotic Yarn, from their March 2022 Yarnable box. Just a very creamy color with some beautiful speckles, very lightly speckled, but a little bit of color added with those. I think it's the perfect combination for this wrap, and I am thoroughly enjoying working on this. The last color I added was this kind of tealy green, and the next color I will add is this creamsicle orange color. I am going in the same order that it came in the Advent, just because I figured why not? And I love how it's turning out. This rainbow cake progress keeper is from Simply Serving on Etsy, and I am housing this in a butterfly project bag by Southern Sewn by Sharon on Etsy. This is a beautiful, nice, tall project bag, perfect for a shawl. I am using little stitch markers between each lace repeat just to help me keep myself on track. But this lace isn't very difficult for this project. You do have to just make sure everything is lining up. I really love this pattern and would also recommend it if you are looking for something to do with your scraps or an advent or just any extra minis you have. This is the Lamina Wrap by Amba O'Brien, knit up in the 2020 Advent by Hypnotic Yarn, as well as Shenanigans by Hypnotic Yarn from their March 2022 Yarnable box. My last work in progress I have to show you is one of my scrappy blankets that I am working on. This is my habitation throw. I have made a little bit of progress on it. I was down here where my unicorn progress keeper is. I believe I got this from an order I placed with the Yarn Jar shop on Etsy. So I've added a few more stripes. My goal is to do 2 of these eyelet repeats per color. And the yarn I am using is from Clark and L on Etsy. These are all leftovers from the 2020 weekly or seasonal advent that I got from her. This is the current color I am working on, this pretty yellow. The colors I'm starting with are from her winter set of minis. There were 13 in each set. You got to open 1 each week for a whole season, and I got all 4 seasons back in 2020. So I'm going to start with all of my winter, then move to the spring on my increases. As you can see, it's increasing. And then I will decrease while using the summer and fall colorways. And we'll see how it works up. I'm really excited to see all these colors together. I did a little bit of a scrappy cowl at first with these, and I still had quite a bit left over. And I thought the habitation throw would be the perfect project to use up more of these leftovers. This pattern is by Helen Stewart, The Curious Handmade, and it was one of her knit vent patterns from a couple years ago. Very popular pattern, perfect for scraps. Mine will be as planned out as I can possibly do it. I'm going to do 2 sections in each color as long as my yarn allows. For some of the longer sections toward the middle, I might only be able to do 1 eyelet repeat, and that's okay. We'll see how things turn out. This is the Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart, knit up in leftovers from the 2020 year-long advent by Clark and L. Well, I think that's about all I have for you this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting my little channel, and please consider giving this video a like and subscribing. That would really mean so much to me. As always, I love to hear what you are thinking and working on, so please feel free to leave a comment down below or message me on Instagram. I am at Knitty Heather on Instagram, and I would love to hear from you. But until next time, be well, be kind, and happy knitting. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.